CBSE is the largest education board in the country. Why don't you first tell us about what the affiliation process is?
Even before I go to the affiliation process, I want to share with you the genesis and origin of school boards.
No doubt about that, sir. That was so wonderful to hear the history and how we are succeeding, sir. It's beautiful.
Yes.
क्या ये प्रोसेस जब एप्लीकेशन फिल करने की बारी आती है, इज इट वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स? क्या किसी स्कूल को ट्रेनिंग या कोई सर्विसेज लेने की ज़रूरत पड़ती है एफिलिएशन के लिए, एप्लीकेशन भरने के लिए?
The present NEP, I'll give you a background also before I elaborate.
Sir, but we also understand that this process has truly evolved over time.
Yes.
And with that being said, there was a recent notification that introduced the concept of branch schools.
Yes.
Namaskar and warm greetings to all our viewers. CBSE is the largest education board in the country. With 30,000 schools affiliated with CBSE in India and in many countries abroad, this podcast is dedicated for all of you who are associated with this vast educational network and for those who are aspiring to become a part of the CBSE family. Today, we bring to you more understanding of the CBSE affiliation process, how it has evolved over the years, and expert guidance to guide schools on their journey of the CBSE affiliation process. And for that, we are extremely grateful and privileged to have with us here today Chaturvedi sir, Director of Affiliation CBSE with us. Welcome sir, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Irene. Good morning to you. Namaskar. And namaskar to all your viewers and to your listeners. It's my privilege to come to this podcast and to share the perspective of the board with respect to the affiliation process, and especially to those who wishes to join our family to bring clarity among our existing stakeholders on the affiliation process and the expectation of CBSE from them. So thank you very much, Irene.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, let's begin. And why don't you first tell us about what the affiliation process is?
Yes. Irene, before I go to the affiliation process, I want to share with you the genesis and origin of school boards, from which the legal context of affiliation arises. Prior to 1921, as you would know, it were the universities which were conducting examination board for class 10th and class 12th students. So you would be surprised to know that in 1921, the Calcutta University conducted the biggest examination for at the secondary level. So at that moment of time, a committee was constituted under the chairmanship of Mr. Settler, who happened to be the Vice Chancellor of Leeds University. He made certain recommendations, and on the basis of his recommendation, in 1921, the first board was constituted, and that was the UP board by an act of the UP legislature, state legislature. Thereafter, in 1929, the genesis of the present CBSE were laid down. In 1929, the then government of India passed an executive resolution and set up a board of high school and intermediate education for Rajputana, including Ajmer, Mewar, Central Provinces and Gwalior. This particular board, and that resolution was passed on 1st July 1929. And this particular board in 1952 was renamed as Central Board of Secondary Education, and in 1st July 1962, the present CBSE as it exists, the executive resolution was again issued by the government of India, and the present CBSE is governed under that executive resolution. So what that resolution says is, the board shall be conducting public examinations at secondary level or any such examination with the approval of the controlling authority of the board, or which the controlling authority of the board so decides. It also says that any educational institution within India and outside India which wishes to prepare its student for the public examination conducted by the board can affiliate their schools with the board. So I hope you have understood and your viewers would have understood the legal background or the genesis of affiliation process. So we affiliate schools for the purpose of conduct of public examination of class 10th and 12th for their students which are affiliated to us. So this is the background to the affiliation. Just to share with you, the board has a tremendous journey, and as of now, we are approximately 31,000 strong affiliated schools family. It's the largest board for formal education of the country. Besides these two objectives, one of the objectives of the board is also to raise the secondary education in the country. So, if you will see the entire gamut of objectives, the aims and objectives which are behind it, CBSE then obviously has a role of being the premier national board, a pace-setting board and a standard-setting boards for others to follow. With the record of the past and the kind of alumni which CBSE has produced, I fully believe that all your stakeholders would agree that the board has discharged its responsibility very ably.
No doubt about that, sir. That was so wonderful to hear the history and how we are succeeding, sir. It's beautiful.
Yes. So, as I told you, the objective itself provides that it has within the country the board can affiliate schools and it can affiliate schools outside the country as well. So, it has an extraterritorial jurisdiction as well. You'd be happy to know that in around 24-25 countries, we have 265 schools affiliated throughout the world, starting from Japan to all the way to Africa, on the eastern and western borders of African continent. So this is the scope of length and breadth of the affiliation process. Now, as you know, from this executive resolution came the two bylaws which governs the functioning of the board. The first is the affiliation bylaws,
Right.
which lays down the norms or the standards and the minimum requirements, statutory requirements, which an institution must fulfill for seeking affiliation with the board. So, a school which wishes to seek affiliation with the board has to abide by the terms and conditions stipulated in the affiliation bylaws. And the other, as you know, is the examination bylaws of the board, which frames the norms and the policies as regards the conduct of a public examination, especially the board examinations at the level of secondary and senior secondary level. So this affiliation bylaws prescribes what should be the minimum physical infrastructure which is required. This affiliation bylaws prescribe the minimum norms for teachers. The affiliation bylaws prescribe what are the essential documents which the school should have. And this also provides that what is expected, how the school has to be run and how the school has to be governed. So the affiliation bylaws is a very exhaustive document. So any of your viewers and listeners and stakeholders who want to be who are part of CBSE family and who wishes to be a part of CBSE family, I will expect them that they should go through the affiliation bylaws definitely to understand the nuances of affiliation and the expectation of the boards when they come to seek affiliation with the board or when they have obtained the affiliation of the board to continue to maintain those standards. So, if let me narrate you the basic essential documents which are required. See, there are 7 essential documents which every school must have before it applies for affiliation with the board. As per our affiliation bylaws, a school has to be run on community lines. So there are 3 types of entities which can run a school. So those 3 identities are: a trust can run a school,
Okay.
a society can run a school, or a non-profit making company under section 25 of the Companies Act can run a school. So you should have a registration of a society or a trust or a companies before you start you can start a school. Once you have that, the school need to have some minimum land norms, land criteria on which its building and infrastructure has to be created. The board has laid down in chapter 3 of the affiliation bylaws the minimum land requirement. As of today, as of now, it says that a person can open a school, these 3 entities, that is a trust and a society or a section 25 company, that is a non-profit company, can open a school throughout the country, anywhere in the country, if it has a minimum land area of 6,000 square meters of land. Now, this is a basic norm.
Right.
But given the circumstances, the board is, as you know, is a premier, as I have elaborated, is a premier board. It is very cognizant of the requirements and the specific hardships and the availability of land in certain areas. So it has provided certain relaxed norms for certain places.
Okay.
So there the land norms are relaxed land norms. So for example, we have 4 metropolitan cities, Delhi, Bombay, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. So where we all understand that their land is in a scarcity. So there the norms becomes slightly relaxed. They can open a school, a secondary school can be opened only with an area of 1600 square meters, whereas a senior secondary school can be opened on an area of 2400 square meters and or 3200 square meters of land. Yes, certain restrictions have been put in as regards the number of sections which these schools can run, where relaxed land norms are applicable. Because there is a norm that there should be minimum 1 square meter of space for a child in a school.
Right.
So those norms have been, but the board is attuned to the prevailing situations and it has so modified it, so evolved its affiliation bylaws to cater to meet the challenges of the time. As I said, relaxed norms are also applicable for X categories of cities, that is Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Greater Mumbai. Similarly, all state capitals, there the land norms is only 400 square meters of land. And cities with population of more than 10 lakh, the land norm is 4 acres of land. Hilly areas throughout the country, the land norms is again 4,000 square meters of land. Islands also, and for northeast there are relaxed norms, and for hill cities, that is cities like Simla or Darjeeling, the land norms is simply 2,000 square meters of land. So again, as you know, this all has been because the board has been very diligent in understanding the educational needs throughout the country and is open to the feedback from its stakeholders and amend its bylaws to make it relevant to the times and attune itself so that we are able to meet the educational needs of the nation. So these are the land norms as I had told you. So the school of this land has to be either in the name of the school or in the name of the society, trust or company which is running the school. And this land, the ownership of the land can be through either through sale or through lease also. And the minimum period of lease is 15 years as per the present bylaws. So I hope you would have got, there has to be first trust and society, second there has to be a land. Now third is you have to take permissions from the state government where the school is situated. So as per the RTE Act, recognition is mandatory. So the school which is seeking affiliation with the board must have recognition from the concerned state
Right.
government. Then, as of now, we have prescribed NOC from the state government, though we had given certain relaxations, which I'll speak subsequently. But NOC is also an essential document for seeking affiliation with the board. Now, once you have land, once you have physical permissions to legal permissions to run the school from the concerned state government, then you have to build the infrastructure required for a school. So those infrastructure norms are laid down in our chapter 4 of affiliation bylaws, which says that the classroom size should be of minimum 500 square meters of land. The lab size should be not less than 600 square feet, and the classroom 500 square feet. And the library should not be less than 1200 square feet. Besides, there should be a play area, possibly a track of 200, running track of 200 meters is available for the student. Obviously, the toilets, the washrooms, separate washrooms, and the school building should be CWSM compliant. An exhaustive circular has been issued regarding providing basic infrastructure facilities to make our school inclusive, so that
Wonderful.
we are students who are specially abled are part of our education system, and our education system is able to meet to the needs and challenges of every child in the country in a inclusive, in a cohesive manner. So those norms the school has to fulfill. They are very well elaborated in chapter 4 of the affiliation bylaws. So now you have a building also.
Yeah.
So next is, there are certain again statutory provisions, and those are called safety certificates, because when we a school is a public place and minor students are coming to, we have to ensure the safety of those students.
Definitely so.
So the school need to have a fire safety certificate, the school needs to have a building safety certificate, and the school needs to have a water and sanitation safety certificates. These are being issued by the concerned state government authorities or by the impaneled engineers by the state government, especially with respect to building safety certificate. So either of them are eligible to be will be acceptable to the board.
Right, sir.
So these are the 7 essential aspects which is required to set up a school. Obviously, when you have everything, you need to have the soft power to, and the most important thing is then becomes the teacher in the school. So the board has also laid down norms for the teachers, and the present bylaws very clearly specifies that the teacher should possess minimum qualifications as laid down by NCTE, National Council of Teacher Education Regulations. As you know, they are the academic authority to lay down the minimum qualifications for teachers. So it's a very carefully drafted document covering all aspects of school education, and see, the purpose of affiliation bylaws is basically to enable a model of governance where the quality of education is inherent and is a byproduct of it. So these all have been framed keeping in mind the quality of education has to be ensured within the
Right.
schools affiliated with the board. I hope your viewers would be able to make
sir.
out.
So it's a very rigorous process.
Yeah.
But sir, क्या ये process जब application fill करने की बारी आती है, is it very complex? क्या किसी स्कूल को ट्रेनिंग या कोई सर्विसेज लेने की ज़रूरत पड़ती है एफिलिएशन के लिए, एप्लीकेशन भरने के लिए?
Erin, that's again a very good questions. I hope a mind of a school has entered you today. You are asking very pertinent questions, very relevant questions. See, school, the present NEP, I'll give you a background also before I elaborate, talks about NEP, National Education Policy 2020, talks about a light but tight regulatory framework, which is based on public disclosures, which is based on transparency, integrity, and all. So the board has, over a period of time, has been able to evolve mechanisms which is completely transparent, which is completely user friendly. It is making of an affiliation application is as easy as you do your work on a mobile. So anybody who can use a mobile or send messages on WhatsApp or can send email on a mobile phone can also make an affiliation application. The board, in its journey of affiliation, has moved from an offline process to an online, completely end-to-end online process. So, as it stands today, this journey has been a very learning journey for us. We have been able to upgrade our softwares, bring in modules, and all those. And today we have a very robust software known as SARAS, SARAS. SARAS stands for School Affiliation Re-Engineered Automated System. So, if an school, presently affiliated school, or any school desires to be part of a CBSE family, or it wants to be admitted to the privileges of the board, can go through this portal, SARAS portal. The link is available on the CBSE website, www.cbsc.nic.in, and is, I think, one of the most searched websites in the country. So anybody can go. So before they make an application, I will request them that there are 2 documents and formats which have been put up there.
Right.
So they need to go, first they should go through the manual affiliation bylaws 2018, and then the manual on SARAS. So SARAS 6.0 version is currently going on, it is in running, and the last date for seeking affiliation with the board under different categories for pre-affiliation and for post-affiliation activities. There is a lot of post-affiliation activities also for already affiliated schools, like they want to increase land, or they want to decrease land, or they want to increase sections, or they want to change the name or the address of the shifting. And similarly, the new schools can come for affiliation up till different categories. The board gives affiliation presently at 3 stages. That is, it approves the middle class syllabus, and then affiliation up to secondary level, and affiliation up to senior secondary level. The schools which are already affiliated with some other board can also come under switchover category. So any school which is affiliated to some other state board or other boards can also come to the CBSE, become a part of CBSE family by making an application for switchover category. And just to clarify, the middle class syllabus approval is a sort of a one-time affiliation.
Okay.
It's basically, see, the purpose of the board is to conduct examination for the students of its affiliated school. So the middle class school, if it continues middle class, the purpose of affiliation is not served. But why we approve middle class syllabus is because it becomes a sort of a preparatory exercise for the schools, that they become aware of the CBSE processes and they upgrade themselves to secondary level and to a senior secondary level. So the transition becomes seamless and smooth for the school, for the teachers, and for the students.
Right, sir.
So I hope your stakeholders would have, your viewers would have understood that they can directly come up to senior secondary level, they can come up to secondary level, or they can take a graded approach for affiliation based on their own requirements.
Great, sir. Sir, but we also understand that this process has truly evolved over time.
Yes.
And with that being said, there was a recent notification that introduced the concept of branch schools.
Yes.
So, sir, could you tell us a little bit about that?
Before I'll come to the branch school, I'll also answer a part of your earlier question, which I have not addressed. Erin, there is no need for any school to approach anyone or to take any
Right.
training or to fall into the trap of any unscrupulous element sometimes. The process is so user friendly. As I had told you, it is as easy as running a mobile phone. The software is so communicative that it tells you what you have to do.
Wow.
So you just need to go through the document, you need to go through the manual. Everything is stated there. The SOPs have been provided there. What should be there in the lab, the school, everything has been documented. What kind of CWS and toilet should be, what should be the gradient. Even minute care have been taken of every aspect there. The formats of land certificate, the format of fire safety certificates, everything has been provided to facilitate the schools so that they don't need to bother about it or they do not be need not be stressed about anything. It's a completely user friendly affiliation process. They only need to go through these two documents and come on this portal and we have a very functional AMC unit. This is Affiliation Maintenance Computer Unit, and this works virtually 24/7. And in case any school finds any problem or difficulty in making an application, they can send a mail to us. Our mail ID is very easy: cbsc.aff@nic.in. And that they can also see on the website. In case they find any difficulty, they can approach us. We are there to help our stakeholders in resolving any of their issues, please.
That's so nice to hear, sir. So CBSE is actually helping you and holding your hand throughout the affiliation process and of course later on as well.
Right. Now I will address your branch school.
Yes, sir.
See, as you know, as I have told you, the board is a premier national board and it has to be very responsive towards our stakeholders and to be able to get see the feedbacks, understand what is the present requirement and to bring up changes. So what we have been finding pressures of urbanizations, there is a lot of demand for admissions in school. And now, as I have told you, there is a restriction of sections with respect to land as it exists presently. So Appendix 5 of the affiliation bylaws lays down the number of number of section which a school can run. So now how to meet there is a scarcity of land in certain areas. So wherever there is relaxed land norms is applicable.
Okay.
So to offload a part of the section which the board has allowed schools to open one branch school from where they can shift their balbatikas to class 5, that is primary section, to that premises and on the same affiliation number. So the branch school affiliation bylaws have been issued. Again, for the branch school, we have further reduced the minimum land criteria. Now they can open a branch school with only 1200 square meters of land anywhere. So at least a part of the sections of primary and balbatikas can be offloaded from the main branch and can be housed in the branch school, and then they can from middle level and secondary or senior secondary, they can run more sections in the main school. The management and the society has to remain the same, and movement of the child from branch school to the main school has to be seamless. It will not be treated as a fresh admission. So there will be a continuity. The parents would be assured of this, that their child would not be given a fresh admission. He will be treated as a child of the very same school. And so we have made provisions where the parents are confident, where the school gets an opportunity to increase its strength and provide quality education to more number of students.
Right.
So the objective of the branch school was this.
सो सर, जब हम क्राइटेरिया की बात कर रहे हैं तो आपने नो ऑब्जेक्शन सर्टिफिकेट भी मेंशन किया था।
Yes, yes.
और रिसेंटली हमने ये सुना है सर कि काफ़ी स्टेट्स से ये नो ऑब्जेक्शन सर्टिफिकेट की रिक्वायरमेंट को हटा दिया गया है सर। व्हाट आर द implications of this?
I'll see, as per our affiliation bylaws, as I have told you, one of the two essential documents out of the seven, the two essential document was the recognition and the NOC from the state government for seeking affiliation with the board. Now, what the board has witnessed and what over a period of time and the feedback from the stakeholders was this. It took time for schools to get NOCs from the state governments because they have their own processes of issuing NOC. So the affiliation process was getting delayed also.
Okay.
Or the applications were getting rejected, and so we were not able to close the affiliation application for a particular session. As you know, the affiliation application is based on 1 year academic year in advance. The academic year is from 1st April to 31st March of the next year. And the objective is that before a child can come in class 9, the school should get affiliation. So that the transition is smooth. Because we don't allow schools to run class 9th without seeking affiliation with the board. This has been provided in our affiliation bylaws. So unless a school is already affiliated or has come into a secure category, there could be a situation that if its application is rejected, that the child will find himself in a difficult position. The parents also don't want to take the child from the school where he is continuing, and the school doesn't have an affiliation with the board. So with the feedbacks which were coming up, it was thought out that the school can apply with an affiliation with the board without NOC, and in place of school going for, in such cases, going for an NOC from the state government, the board will write to the state governments.
Okay.
So we have written to our secretary CBSE has written to the all education secretaries of all the states and union territories, and we have our affiliation bylaws, the governing body and the controlling authority of the board has approved the process whereby a school which applies for affiliation without NOC with the board, its application we communicate to the state government, sends them a link to submit their comments on it within 30 days. And if those comments are not received within 30 days, we issue a reminder through, again, this is all system generated. As I have told you, this is a completely end-to-end online process. So this mail is sent and then a reminder sent and the link is given where they can note down their comments. So even if in 45 days, primarily the state governments do write their comments there, in case if their comments are not provided in 45 days, then we wait for another 15 days. Maybe there may be some delay or some communication can come. So if there are no comments received from the state government up to 60 days, then its application is processed with an assumption that the state government had no objection if the affiliation is granted. So this will facilitate the process. This will expedite the process. This will remove the uncertainty regarding the affiliation process to the school and to us as well. So it is again a part of a reform. As you know, the NEP 2020 says that we have to be transparent, we have to be responsive, we have built trustworthy processes. So this reform is a part of the implementation of NEP 2020 only to facilitate our stakeholders for a seamless and smooth affiliation process. Again, that I repeated, the school need not worry about anything. They need not approach anybody. They should follow due process of law. Come to us directly. In case they face any problem, please inform us. We will get back to them. We will clarify issues and we can make the experience, a very enriching experience for the schools for seeking and dealing with affiliation of the board.
Definitely. So this is truly a very positive step forward, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
we also know that CBSE has an OASIS portal. Now, what is the importance of this OASIS portal for schools?
Yes. Please understand, OASIS portal stands for Online Affiliation School Information System. See, so once an school is granted affiliation, the grant letter will only be generated once the school fills the OASIS portal. The OASIS portal is a database seeking complete information about the school infrastructure, its teachers, its other norms, so that the board has a database for framing its policies for all its activities. See, the purpose of is OASIS is the board is involved into many activities, whether it's examination, whether it is academic, whether these are student enrichment activities.
Right.
So all these activities requires hard statistics for policy making and for taking decisions. OASIS portal therefore helps the board in framing those policies.
Okay.
So it is sort of a window for the board for framing appropriate policies and taking actions as regards to its different activities. For example, we have to conduct school games. Now from OASIS portal we can understand these are the schools which have these sports facilities. We have to make a school a center. Now from the OASIS data we can know these are the schools with so many of classrooms where so many candidates can be made to sit and appear in the examination, or for student enrichment activities. So this is a database which is being very meaningfully utilized in decision making, in policy making, and in implementations of board policies across the activities of the board.
Right.
So I'll at this juncture will take the opportunity herein to request the schools to provide accurate, complete, truthful information in the OASIS portal. The better the information, better would be the decision making and policy formulation of the board.
Great, sir. So, sir, we're truly empowering the schools, we're empowering the leaders, and this is what trickles down to our students as well. And so, this brings me to another question. You mentioned for CWS and for children with special needs,
yes.
there are certain requirements that are there without which the affiliation process may be hindered.
Yes. Let me share with you. Affiliation bylaws, as I have told you in chapter 4, lays down the
Yes, sir.
physical infrastructure required in the. There, it also stipulates that the school building should be CWSN compliant. So we have recently issued a policy document giving very detailed SOPs for making the school building compliance, in the sense that the school should be inclusive, it should be user friendly for especially able CWSN students. There should be ramp facilities up to ground floor or up to those floors where the CWSN students are attending their classes or laboratory work. So if you had, the schools had made provision for CWSN candidate to have their classes in ground floor and their work there, then they need to have that infrastructure in ground floor. And if they have made provisions for children of CWSN children to have their classes on upper floor, then those facilities, ramp or lift and CWSN compliant toilets, needs to be set up on those floors as well. So that liberty we had given to, that flexibility I would say has been given to the school, so that there is no enormous burden being put up on the schools, and the schools are also inclusive, and they are able to take regular admissions of CWSN students. Besides, chapter 2 also stipulates that every school which is affiliated, and this is a mandatory condition,
Right, sir.
that must have a special educator. And the qualification of special educators have been as per the Rehabilitation Council of India laid down, right? So the board, as I said, is a pace-setting board. It's a premier national board. It has to frame policies which are tuned to the times, and which the board doesn't want any child to be left out because of any conditions. So we want our schools to be so empowered that they are able to provide inclusive education to any child who approaches them for education.
So this also brings me to the point that the bylaws also mandate having a school counselor or a wellness teacher in the school.
Yeah.
What was the thought behind that,
Yes,
sir?
very good question. People make our stakeholders make this have a confusion about a special educator and a wellness and a counselor. See, the role of as I have elaborated in, the role of a special educator is towards inclusive education
Right, sir.
and to provide assistance to CWSN students for their learning. Whereas the role of wellness and counselor is twofold, is to take care of the modern stress of the modern times, and also to assist the child in framing ideating his own career path. So, counselor and wellness teacher plays the multiple role to provide a safety valve for a child where he can go and share his problems and discuss his problems, issues which affects him, and also he can plan based on his own interest, can also plan his career in his life. So the purpose, I hope I have been able to clarify you,
certainly,
Iren
sir.
sir.
Yes.
So the school needs to have a wellness and a counselor, and as well as a special educator. And the qualification for wellness counselor teacher has also been laid down in, if I correctly remember, in clause 2.4.12 of the
Right.
affiliation bylaws. So there they can say that he should be a graduate or postgraduate in psychology, or a graduate or postgraduate with a diploma in career counseling and all that. So again, see, the purpose of, as I said, the purpose of affiliation bylaws is to make to have schools which provides a wholesome learning experience to a child within the school, and which is able to meet the challenges and need of the child.
Right, sir.
So the school should be future ready, right? So the board has to be always on the toes, and as you would have seen, the board is a very child-centric board.
Yes.
In terms of its each activity, whether it's academic activities, whether it is what you say, it's examination activities. It is so child-centric. The child is the center of the board. So all our policies are so framed that the school is future ready, is able to meet every need and requirement for appropriate learning outcomes for the child as per the modern times.
Yes, sir.
So he becomes what you say, he is able to meet the intellectual need of the country, the high-end cutting research which is required, and to mend positions of new age learnings and areas of knowledge.
Definitely, sir. So there is no doubt that CBSE has been making strides in ensuring that education is holistic for all our students. Sir, we've understood the requirements, we've understood the criteria, but sir, what are some deficiencies or shortcomings that are noted in the affiliation application process?
Yes.
Because of which schools may face a setback?
Yes. See, 2-3 things school need to be very careful about. Generally, those are the reasons for rejection of application. First is there has to be consistency in documents. So what we have witnessed is the recognition certificate bears a different name of the school, NOC bears a different names of the school, the safety certificate bears different names of the school. So that creates, there has to be uniformity in every document.
Definitely.
In our personal life also, so our name will be same in all our certificates, starting from our secondary education to our higher education. So board expects that the school should ensure that there is a consistency in documents. Second is, the board also expects, the board has therefore laid down a lot of formats also. So the land certificate format they should try to bring in. Though in case they find it difficult, if they are not being issued, they can submit a land certificate as issued by the authorities, but it should carry all essential information which have been provided in the land certificate. So in the land certificate, what we have seen is the title and ownership of the land is sometimes not clear. So, or the name of the school is not mentioned, only the society name is mentioned, the school name is not mentioned in this. Similarly, in the building safety certificate, they don't mention the blocks the school is having, the number of floors they are having, right? Or they, they have not taken care that the validity has expired of the safety certificates. So at the time when they make their application, all their safety certificates should, or they should be valid. There should be legitimate and valid when they apply for affiliation. Similarly, in fire safety certificate, second is that they should be issued by the appropriate authorities as well. What we have found out is, in some cases, that the certificates have also not been issued by the appropriate authority. So NOC has to be issued by the Directorate of Education. It cannot be issued by a district education officer. So those schools have to be careful while making those applications. Once the essential documents are there, and see, teachers are the most important aspect after the children. So we expect schools to frame service rules for their teachers. We expect schools to pay their teachers as per the norms. So they must ensure that the teachers are paid salaries which are not less than the minimum wages prescribed by the state government there. So they need to be just careful that the statutory provisions are not violated in any manner, and the formats which the board have provided, the information is according to those.
Great.
So if a school takes care of these aspects while making developing an infrastructure, they can first see what is the requirement, ensure that the classroom size is 500 or square feet, lab size is 600 square feet, library, or the minimum books which are required in library are as per board norms. So once they ensure that, generally the board grants affiliation, it puts certain conditions in case it finds there are certain conditions which are still not fulfilled. The board still grants them affiliation and give them conditions for compliances to be complied within 3 months. So the board is flexible. Once it sees it has met the minimum benchmark and it has all the statutory permissions required for affiliation, the board does grant affiliation with the condition that they will fulfill the remaining conditions within next 3 months.
Right, sir. So definitely we can all see that the affiliation process is so meticulous, and the board does not compromise when it comes to the children and when it comes to quality education. But sir, कुछ ऐसे मैटर्स भी होते हैं क्या जिसमें बोर्ड को कुछ स्कूल्स के अगेंस्ट स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन लेना पड़े?
Yes, again you have prepared yourself so well. This is a very important question, Irene, and our stakeholders should be aware. See, first and foremost is a school is a very important place where we are nurturing the future of the country, and the safety of the children is very important. So we, the board, generally takes action when we find there is lapses in governance and schools are not adhering to the terms with which they have been granted affiliation. So affiliation is, it's a covenant which we have given to the schools, right? We have admitted to them on certain conditions. They have to be fulfilled at all times. So we expect the schools to fulfill those conditions. These have been very well elaborated. The first is that the school should not compromise on quality of education. It should adhere to all the directions and norms of the board and by the state governments or the local authorities there. They must ensure complete safety for the children. They must ensure that the teachers who have been appointed or their service conditions are governed as per the state education rules and regulations, and they maintain discipline. They follow examination bylaws with respect to attendance in classes. As you know, there are the criteria. Minimum attendance is 75% for a child to appear in board examination. So these are the things which we expect the schools that they, and a good, these are the minimum for a good school. So what we expect is not something which is not required for running a good school. We had laid down just those minimum norms that they need to follow. The board doesn't intend to intrude in the internal functioning of the school, but it requests schools to strictly adhere to the minimum terms and conditions which have been laid down by the board in affiliation bylaws and examination bylaws and what is required by our other academics. The board is very particular about teachers training. The affiliation bylaws also prescribes that there should be minimum 50 hours of training. Similarly, our academic unit had laid down certain tools like shuffle. You see, as I said, the board is a pace-setting and premier national board. The board has made tools for schools to analyze where they stand. So we have SQUAF, we have shuffle. SQUAF is a tool where the school can judge himself where it stands.
Wow.
And shuffle is a tool where the school can identify what are the learning outcomes of its children, whether they are, and can improve. So board is hand-holding, is assisting schools in every matter of its functioning. It has a very holistic and 360-degree approach towards hand-holding the schools and for providing a comprehensive, enriching learning experience to a child in a safe environment in a school.
Most
Iran.
certainly, sir. Thank you so much, sir. But before we let you go, कुछ quick tips आपसे चाहिए हमें, कुछ do's and don'ts जो schools को ध्यान रखने चाहिए about the affiliation process.
सबसे पहला do's and don'ts which I'll suggest is they must go through affiliation bylaws first and the manual on rules and regulation. Your stakeholders, Erin, and your viewers and listeners can trust that documents are so elaborate, they are so exhaustive, they are so full of clarity कि once they go through the school, they are able to understand what is the requirement, what the board expects from them, and how to go about affiliation. And before they apply, they need to get all the documents in place, approvals in place, and they should ensure that they provide proper, bona fide legal documents to us. They do not fall, they do not take shortcuts, and they do not provide information which is not correct. And we can assure them that board processes are extremely transparent. They need not go to any place. They need not seek any external assistance or help from anyone. The board will assist them in facilitating their affiliation with the board.
Great, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time and joining us today. It was such an in-depth conversation that we've gained so much clarity. And sir, not just clarity, I'm sure all schools, all viewers watching have gained so much encouragement also that CBSE is there holding your hand throughout this process and that we are ensuring good quality education and student-centric education for all our students. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ren. It was all my privileges. And I take this opportunity again to request the schools that they may apply for branch schools in case their school falls under relaxed land norms. And the last date for applying for affiliations under different categories is 30th of June, especially for those schools whose extension is going to end on 31st March 26. they need to apply for extension of affiliation as well. Schools which want to increase their sections or other activities, the time is up to 30th of June. So they should take this opportunity and make appropriate applications, please. Thank you, Ren, for giving this wonderful opportunity for sharing my views with your viewers and listeners.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
All
you.
my privilege, please.
Thank you.